Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we're gonna be learning about control flow concepts in programming. So we start with functions. Functions are block of codes that execute a sequence of steps to respond to a command. Then we have loops. Loops are control statements used to execute a block of code multiple times. It repeats tasks. So the body of a loop can contain any control flow code, even another loop, which is called nested loops. We have for loops and while loops. So these are the two types. For loop, it repeats some operations a fixed number of times. While loops repeats a body of a code as long as a given condition holds. And also while loops makes the program respond differently to different input. Then we have if statement. If statement execute if code block, if and only if provided the test is true. Now we have some examples. First, functions. We have a function called add numbers, which takes two arguments, x and y, and then it adds to these two arguments, it sums them up, and then it returns sum. This is how we define add number function. And then if we want to use it in this example, say result equals add numbers 5 and 3. Notice that I changed the arguments x and y. I replaced them with, this case, I replaced them with number 5 and 3, can replace them with any number and see if it works. So any number I put here, this function will take, this function will take these numbers and then sums them up like x plus y. So in this case, it's 5 plus 3. Then it returns the sum should be 8. Then it prints 8 on the screen. I'm going to go to VS Code and then we will try this later. And then we have for loops. For loops, this is the way we write for loops. We say for I in range, let's say 10, print a star. This will print 10 stars this way. And then if we say for I in range 3, since I takes numbers from 0 to 3, but 3 is not included, so it's going to be 0, 1, 2. We'll print all the numbers less than 3. And then this is a third example. If we say for character in banana, print character. This will print all the letters in banana in perpendicular way, like y-axis. Then we have while loops, and we have one example here. So while count is less than 5, print the count, then open curly brackets, count is, then give the count here. But we gave a condition, another code here, which is increase that count by 1. This symbol here, when you put plus, then equal, together like this, means increment by 1 or whatever number you put here. So we set the count to be 0, to start at 0. And then this loop will print first this sentence here. We want it to print the count as column and then give the count. But the way to count this number is by taking whichever number, as long as it is less than 5, starting with 0, then adding 1. So if we start with 0 plus 1, we say 1. Start by 0, then 1. Then if the number is 1, we add 1, it's 2. So we start 1, 2, etc. So 0, 1, 2, until we get to 4. Then if we add 1 to 4, it's 5. So this is not going to be correct. So we stop at that. We stop at 4. Then if the number is now is not less than 5, we exit loop and we print loop finished. We'll see that in VS Code later. Then we have an if statement. So the way if statement works is it tests first the expression. And the expression, let's say we say here, x equals 10 if x is more than 5, this is the expression. It tests if x is more than 5. In this case, 10 is, yes, 10 is bigger than 5. Then if it's true, then it goes to body of if, which means since x is more than 5, then we go to the body of x and of f, sorry, and then execute this. So since x is more than 5 in this case, which is 10, then the computer will print 10 is greater than 5. But if we put x is 8, x is 2, sorry, 2 is less than 5. So this is not true. So if it's false, what should we do? The system will not execute the body of if. It will go directly to the statement below if. So if we put 2 here, 2 is less than 5. No, 2 is more than 5. So this is not true. So we're not going to execute the if body, the body of the if statement, which means we're not going to print x is greater than 5. Instead, we're going to go to whichever program or code we have next after the if. In here, in this example, I don't have enough. So the program will just stop. The second example is because if we can use it with else, if, else. So if this expression is true, then execute this. If this expression is not true, then execute this. This is what it means. So if I put y equals 3, if y is more than 5, then print y is greater than 5. Else, print y is not greater than 5. So if I put here y equals 6, is 6 greater than 5? Yes. So 6 is greater than 5. This is what is going to print on the computer. Now, let's say I put here 2. Is 2 greater than 5? No. 2 is less than 5. So the computer will not execute this part. Go to else and execute this. The computer will print 2 is not greater than 5. All right, that's it. And let's go now to VS Code and try these examples. For that, I will stop sharing, then I will share VS Code. Okay. Now I'm in my VS Code, but I want to bring my slides. So let's say when I want to bring my slides again. So let's do that. But I want the VS Code in the other side, so let's do this. These are my slides. Let's go back to the examples. So we can try them one by one. Let's go to functions first. Here I'm in my VS Code. I'm going to open the file, a new file. It's Python. And then try this. First, we're going to define the add number function. That takes 2 arguments, x and y, and sum them up. So it takes the argument x plus 1 plus 1, and then return sum. Okay. And if I want to use my function now in this code, this program, you say result equal. I will call my function by just passing the name of the function inside my program with different arguments. I will give it 5 and 3 instead of x and y. So say result equals add numbers with argument 5, 3. So call the add numbers function with argument 5, 3 will sum up 5, 3 and return the sum and then print the result from it. Print result. What do you think this should print? This should print 8, right? Because this add number function will take these two numbers and add them up, and adding them is 5 plus 3 equals 8. That's the sum. And then when I say print result, since result equals this, whatever this function is doing, which is adding 5 to 3, the result is 8. So this print will print 8. Let's try it, but first let's open the terminal and then run this code. First I need to save my yeah. It gave me an error for some reason. Let's see what the error is. The add number instead of add numbers. Because when I defined the function, I just defined it as add number. So I need to add as here, or else remove it here. But I'm just going to add. So it's clear. It's better this way because we're adding numbers, not just one number. Then let's open the terminal again. And then let's run this code. Okay. So now everything looks fine. Just going to make it bigger so you can see. I think everything looks fine. Let's see. It said add numbers is not defined. It was defined. The add numbers was not defined. Did you mean add number? Okay, that's previously, but we deleted that. We deleted that. Now we are here. So let's run it. Okay, I see 8 now. See 8. So we corrected the error we made. When I wrote the name of the function, I forgot to add s here. So that's why when I want to call it and use it, I used it with s. So we did not recognize it. So we always, when we define a function, and then when we go and use it, make sure you put the right name in your program. So it's 8. All right, so now let's delete this and go and try the second example. The example is about loops. Yeah, loops. So for I in range 10, print a star. Let's try it. It's like the code, right? For I in range 10, say print star. Done. I wrote it up here. If you're wondering what this bar is, this just pops up because we added Copilot, which is an AI, to my VS Code to help me write my codes. Sometimes it give you suggestion. So sometimes it pops up like that and try to help me, but you can see, give me suggestion, but I don't want that. Don't use it. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm just going to write the codes on my own, because the way we learn is by trying by ourselves, not relying on AI all the time. It helps sometimes when you make error. AI will give you suggestions to correct it, which I will make a video about it, how to add a pilot AI to your VS Code, but not for today. For today's purpose, just trying some control flow concepts in Python. So let's run this one and see. Something wrong, because I think when I write print, let's run it again. No. For I in range 10, which is correct, print this one. It should be okay. Let's see why. It's always good to read comments and see where you made the error. Let's run it again and see what's the error. The error is this, that why you need it. Don't think you're supposed to remove it, For I in range 10, I in range 10, print star, right? I'll try again. This is how we learn, by trying. We keep trying. It says it's invalid syntax. Let's hover over it and see. All right. I think it's correct. I'm just gonna write it again. If that's what it means, print and stuff. Sometimes computers get confused because maybe star is multiplication, so it's confusing. I'm not really sure what's happening in line 2. The problem is in line 2. So it's supposed to be indented, which I did. And then maybe inside here. Let's see. Well, maybe I should add quotes, double quotes, because I want to print exactly star. Maybe that's the error. We'll see. So when I say print, yeah, that's the error. Because when you say print exactly what you want to print, you need to add double quotes. But hey, this is part of the process. We make errors, but that's how we learn. So we said for I in range 10, print the star. So it's printing. It printed 10 stars. Okay, let's erase this problem that gives us a lot of headache that we learned. That's okay. And then I want to remove this. I don't want to see it here, but I don't know how to remove it. Just going to open another file. All right, open file, new file, Python file. And let's do it this way. And let me close this whole terminal, empty it. Then let's try for I in range 3, print I. Let's see what it is going to print. This is a loop. Remember this for loop. So for I in range 3, range 3, for I in range 3, fine. Oh. Print I. Let's print I and see how what's the print. Print I is lowercase. So I takes values from 0 to 3, but 3 is not included. The range is 0 to 3, but 3 is not included. So it's going to be 0, 1, 2, right? So let's see if it's going to be 0, 1, 2. I need to save a file first. It says that because when I open the file, I did not save. Yeah, like you see, it printed 0, 1, 2. All right, let's remove this and try the other example. Other example is for character in banana. You can try that on your own on your desk or to practice. Oh, there's this thing again appeared. I need to learn how to remove this, but not today. In another video. So, let's say for character in banana. For character in banana has to be between double quotes. Right? Character in banana. Yeah. Then print character. print, and this is character, right? So for character, banana print character. This pilot is good because if we go right, and it will give you suggestions. Like in here, let's see. It will give you suggestions. You can read and then learn how to have a style and how to code. I don't want to read all of that. I'm just going to do it manually. Right, character. Like I said, I'm going to make another video about how to add Copilot into your VS Code and how to use it to help you write programs. So let's run it. It printed every letter by itself on one line. So banana. All right, it worked. This is for loops. So now let's clear this out and close this old terminal. Then go to the next example, which is while loops. This example here, I will set my count. Let me start here so you can see my code just from here, or ignore the AI, the Copilot. So count equals, so why is that? I want to be here. Count equals, no. Count equals 0. Count equals 0. So my loop is while count is less than 5. Print this is another cell in writing Python. I'm going to format the count based on the number that's entered. So we're going to say F double quote the count is, we want this to see this sentence. Then we're going to, we want this count to be formatted based on the sum after counting, after summing up, because we want to increase the count by 1. So after adding 1 to the count, format the result and add it here. So print add the count is count, and then you tell the function what to do. So take count and then increase it. So increase it or increment it by 1, and then print the numbers from 0 to 5. That less than 5 has to be less than 5. So now when we go to where a number is not less than 5, we need to exit the loop and get to the next code right below the loop, which is print this sentence. Loop finished. Loop finished, right? Exclamation mark. We're happy the loop is finished. So now let's run it. Okay. Give me an error for some reason. There's unexpected indentation. Yeah, we're not indenting this because it's under while loop still, and it's part of, we're telling the print function what to do. First, some days, change it here and format it based on whatever number you find here, and then print this sentence, including the number of the count. So let's remove that. Like I said, errors are part of learning. So I'm not going to edit this video. I'm going to leave this error and then how we fixed it. And then when we run it again, we'll see if it works. Yes, it works. So it says the count is 0, the count is 1, the count is 2, the count is 3, the count is 4. When we get to 4, 4 is less than 5, but if we add 1 to 4, it's going to be 5, and 5 is not less than 5, so we have to exit the loop and go on print loop finished. That's exactly what computer did. After getting to 4, since 4 is not 4 plus 1 is not less than 5, then the computer printed loop finished. Okay, so let's erase this one and go to next if statement. Not saving this because it's just for practice. So the next is if statement. If statement, we have this example. It's very simple. X equals 10. X equals 10. Now, if X is more than 5, print X is greater than 5. Right? And then go here and print. So since 10 is greater than 5, and this test is true, so the computer will execute the body of the if statement, which is print X is greater than 5. So it did printed X is greater than 5. If we want to be more specific, this X equals 10. If X is greater than 5, print. We want to be more specific, we're going to say print or format this. Let's try print X. So we want to print X and this sentence. We want X to be variable. So the computer will change it to 10. And if I put here another number, maybe 5, the computer will change it to 5. Let's try and see if it works. So when you want to print a variable, you don't need the double quotes, but you can add a print variable to a string. You can add a number to a string inside the print function. So let's see. It says something about print X plus. So try it again. Give me another error. Let's see. Okay, we need space. Okay. We need the space. We need X and space and plus this value here. And supported operand type for class. Let's see. Let's see print like that. And plus print this. Let's see if this will work. No, it didn't. So let's format instead. So format X in curly brackets. And then space, yes. Let's try this one. So let's do this one. Print F format X is greater than 5. Oh, okay, I need another parenthesis to close it up. And then what does it say again? Excuse me a second. Yeah, we don't need brackets here. We don't need the bracket here. We need the bracket before the F. Like that. Okay, now it's printing. Takes me a while to figure out the error. So you see now it's replacing X with 10. It says 10 is greater than 5. Let me now close this and change, so X equals 5, right? 5. Okay, yeah, 15, that's fine. So you see every error will make your code crash. So make sure you use the right syntax. So sometimes the AI comes in handy to check if you with an error. In my case, I use the formatting symbol before the curly before the parentheses. The parentheses before that. So when I corrected all the errors, now my code is working. This is called debugging, by the way. So now when I run it, you see now it's replacing 10 with 15, because 15 is still more than 5. Since 15 is more than 5, the computer will execute the body if statement. So we print whichever number we set up here. So it's going to format X and replace it with this number is greater than 5, like that. All right, let's go to the next example. The next example is this one, if or else, right? If else. All right, let's delete this. All right, let's now start. Y equals 3 if y equals 5, right? Sorry, if y is greater than 5, if y is greater than 5, then print y, no, print exactly the sentence y, so we need to add double quotes. Y is greater than 5, right? Else, colon, print, else print y is not greater than 5, right? So the computer first will test this statement. Y is greater than 5. I put y equals 3. Is y greater than 5? No, it's not greater than 5. So the computer will not execute this first if statement. Computer will go to the else statement and print y is not greater than 5. Let's try it this way. Print. Yeah, it says y is not greater than 5. Now let's try another example. If I put something greater than 5, I put 9. If 9 is greater than 5, is 9 greater than 5? Let's test this expression. Yes, 9 is greater than 5 is correct. Therefore, we should execute this statement when print y is greater than 5. Where you don't have to go to else because this first one is correct. Let's try. See, yes. It says y is greater than 5. If we want to go further, like earlier, we want to include the exact number here. We're going to do the same way as we did earlier. We need to add f, and we need to add curly brackets for y. All right, the same here. We need to add f and curly brackets for y. And then print. You see, 9 is greater than 5. Now if I change, because it changes y, it formats y with whichever number we put here. If I change it to 2 or 3, and I close all of that, and I say print, it should print 3 is not greater than 5. You see that earlier it printed y is not greater than 5. Since I did not ask the computer to format the Y and change it to replace T, whichever I gave it here. But now, because I wrote this, I added F for formatting and curly bracket to show the computer which symbol I want to format or which argument I want to format. And then it printed the exact number I want. If I change it to 2, it will print 2, etc. 2 is not greater than 5. That's all for today's video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time in the next video.